Welcome everyone to Train Tuesday. I'm your host Jim Wiggin, and so glad to have you on board, whether you're watching us live right now on the live feed or you're catching us later on YouTube. If you're catching us on YouTube and you like the content that you're seeing, go ahead and like and subscribe and hit the notification bell. That way you're notified every time a new video like this one drops into our YouTube channel. Got a few folks joining us here tonight, so let's see who is joining us in Train Tuesday. I see Mr. Charles Wood, Jason, Darren, Donnie. Let's see. Dan, Michael, BNSF 9708. DG Model Works is in the house. Delta 9, Grandpa Rails, and Late Night Model Railroading, just to name a few. So glad to have you on board tonight. We're going to be talking HO scale. Sorry to disappoint the N scale guys. No N scale tonight. But stick around. There's some neat information to pass along that you may learn in your modeling. We're going to be talking about the Athearn Genesis HO scale F units, and then we're going to talk about some 53-foot trailers, as well as some 50-foot boxcars by the Athearn line. So without further ado, let's get again and see who's joining us. I see Delta 9, EMP Railroad 93, Ted Ferguson, Grandpa Rails, Jerry, Eric, Abel, and Gerald, Harold, and Ronald have joined the chat. So glad that you could join us. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with another Train Tuesday and start with some Athearn Genesis F units. Now, a little bit of history on these, if you're not familiar. The EMD F units, they were a line of diesel-electric locomotives produced between November of 1939 and November 1960 by General Motors Electromotive Division and General Motors Diesel Division. Final assembly of all the F units was done at the sorry, it's been a long weekend. I just got back from a show. GM EMD plant at LaGrange, Illinois, and the GMDD plant in London, Ontario, Canada. They were sold to railroads throughout the United States, Canada, and Mexico. Now, structurally, the locomotive was a car body unit. That means the body was the main load-bearing structure. It was designed like a bridge or a truss bridge and then covered with cosmetic panels. The so-called bulldog nose was a distinguishing feature of the locomotive's appearance and made it a lasting impression in the minds of the traveling public. F units were the most successful first-generation mainline diesel locomotives in North America, and were largely responsible for superseding steam locomotives in road freight service. Now, before this, diesel units were mostly used as a switcher locomotive and confined to rail yards. Now, the locomotives that you see on your screen now, this is from a previous run. These F7 AAs are Norfolk and Western freight locomotives, and if you are interested in these, while we don't have stock of them anymore, it's possible that your hobby dealer does. The item number on this AA set is ATHG 19568. Again, that's ATHG 19568. Now let's talk about what we're offering for the month of April and what you have until Friday, the 26th, to place your pre-orders with. We're going to start with 1947 era on up Great Northern. Now these are F3s. Great Northern ordered 2 sets of passenger F3AB units in 1947. Now they were decorated in the famous Empire scheme of orange and green with imitation gold trim. Now both the A and B units were equipped with steam generators. So we're going to be offering 2 road numbers for the Great Northern. These are going to be F3 A and B unit sets, and the first one that you see on the top of your screen is Great Northern 260A and 260B, and we're also going to offer Great Northern 261A and 261B. Now, since these are Genesis and they are prototype specific, they're going to have these features that are key for the Great Northern. These are Phase 2 F3 units. They're going to have the as-built skirts, no dynamic brakes, steam generators, dual single-note air horns on the A units, ladder rest grabs, and passenger pilot on the A units. Coming up next, we have the Colorado and Southern. Now these are F7 units. These are 1950 to late 1960s. In 1950, the Colorado and Southern Railway, which was a subsidiary of the Chicago, Burlington, and Quincy Railroad, received an order of 3 ABBA EMD F7s. These were their first road freight diesels. These units worked in freight service from Guernsey, Wyoming to Houston, Texas for many years, often with one or more of the Colorado and Southern's SD7s or SD9s spliced in between the AB sets. That would have been some cool rail fanning to see that action. Now we're going to be having 2 road numbers as well with these AB units. The first one up is F7A and B, 701A and 701B, followed by F7A and B unit set 701D and 701C. Now, specific features for the Colorado and Southern F7s, these are Phase 1 F7s. They are passenger pilots equipped on the A units, 36-inch fan-equipped dynamic brakes, dual and single note air horns on the A units, and upper clear gyro light and red emergency gyro light. Now, the last road that we're going to be offering this month as far as F units is the Denver Rio Grand. Now, this is early 1960s all throughout the 1970s. Now, Rio Grand received their 4th and last group of F7s in the summer of 1952. Some of these units in this release were among some of the last ones that were retired. In their final years, they were sometimes leased to other power-short railroads such as the Colorado and Southern, or the Illinois Central and the Southern Pacific. The 5761 was often seen on the point of the Rio Grand Zephyr during that train's first year of operation. Now we're going to offer the 2 different road number sets. They're going to both be F7A and B unit sets. The first one that you see at the top of your screen is unit numbers 5704 for the A unit and 5702 for the B unit. Likewise, the second set, F7A, is 5761 and the B unit is 5742. Now, features that are specific for the Denver and Rio Grande Western F units, these are Phase 2 F7s. A little bit different here. They have freight pilots on the A units. They're also equipped with 48-inch fan-equipped dynamic brakes. Look carefully and you'll see the nail-type antennas just on the A units. Also 3 chime air horns on the A units, and the B unit comes with a single chime Hostler backup horn. Remember, these could be separated when they're originally used in passenger service. Many of them were just connected with a drawbar. Later on, they were equipped with couplers, and hostlers could move the B units around the yard for maintenance and storage. Now let's talk about features of the Genesis F units. We're going to go back to our earlier example. Now these are just some of the details that these come with standard. If you want to see the full detail, go ahead and go to athearn.com and look under the new announcements and pull up the PDF, and there is a complete listing of all of the details that are included with these F units. Now, some of the details include coupler cut levers, train line and MU hoses, wire grab irons, sanding lines, lit signal lights and or beacons if equipped, it's based on the prototype, bell placement and type of bell per prototype, separately applied photo etched metal and injection molded detail parts, detailed fuel tank with fuel fillers, fuel gauges, breather pipes, and retention tanks, speed recorders unless otherwise noted, see-through cab window and full cab interior, and of course etched metal fan grills. Now you can get these as DCC ready, just straight DC, but DCC ready, or you can get these with the Tsunami 2 sound decoder by Soundtracks. Now see your dealer for your pricing. But again, you've got until Friday, the 26th of April to place your pre-orders. All right, I'm going to see if anybody has any questions before going to our next item. Looking up here to see what else you guys might be asking in the comments. Doesn't look like any questions on those. A lot of folks are happy about the Colorado and Southern and the Denver and Rio Grande. Actually, I had a lot of requests for those roads while I was at a certain show this past weekend. Here's a good question. Did CNS have a paint scheme, or did they just use BN and CB&Q paint? The Colorado and Southern was technically its own railroad, but it was a subsidiary of first the CB&Q and then the Burlington Northern until about, I believe, if memory serves me correctly, around 1982. But yes, they had the same paint scheme, but if you look carefully, they have a totally different number sequence than either the Q or the Burlington Northern. That's why if you look at some of the Colorado and Southern numbers on, say, their SD40s, they have a slightly smaller road number. And again, I'm going just by memory because there's a lot of information that I've read over the years, but I believe after 1982, they just slowly became absorbed into the Burlington Northern. What are the road numbers on the Great Northerns? Well, I will go back here a little bit and let you know. The Great Northerns, again, these are F3s and they're AB sets. So each item number, Athearn number, is going to include both an A unit and a B unit. Great Northern 260A and 260B will make up the first set, and then Great Northern 261A and 261B will make the second set. All right, let's go on to our next item, and we're going to be talking HO scale Athearn 53-foot trailers, and not just any trailers, the Wabash trailers. Now, this is perfect for you guys that model 1990s to pretty much current day. I'm going to help you a little bit on the dates on these. Now, the Wabash 53-foot plate trailer, it was manufactured in the 1990s. The trailer is distinguished by the unique uneven spacing of the exterior ribs. It was a common trailer for piggyback service in the 1990s and 2000s. The plate trailer was subsequently replaced by the DuraPlate trailer in Wabash's line. Both of these veterans can still be found out on the road and rails today. Now, what you see on your screen here is the Wabash plate trailer. This is painted up and lettered for Wonder Bread. It's number 97860, and this one, relatively recent. This came out, I believe, the end of last summer. So you can probably still find this online, or you can find it at your Athearn dealer. The item number on this is ATH72818. Again, that's ATH72818. Now let's talk about what we're offering in this run. Now, many of these should look pretty familiar to you if you spend any amount of time on the highway. We're going to start with Heartland Express there at the top. This is a 1990s to current day trailer. Keep in mind the dates that I'm going to be giving you aren't hard cutoff dates. In many cases, logos have changed or the companies have since become defunct. Doesn't mean that you still can't see these trailers out there on highways and other places. However, this will kind of give you an idea if you're modeling HO scale and you're modeling the 90s or the 2000s. So Heartland Express was founded by Russell Gurdon in 1978. Heartland Express tractors and trailers can be seen nationwide. Their company headquarters are located in North Liberty, Iowa, not all that far from Athearn headquarters. We're going to be offering two different road numbers on these. Again, this is 1990s to current day. You can still see these trailers on the road. The first one is Heartland number 8539, and the other one not pictured is 8695. So all the trailers that I'm going to be talking about tonight, they're available in two different road numbers. That way you can have some variety in your fleet. Next, we have Swift, and this is no stranger sometimes to some rather awkward but somewhat amusing videos online. This is a 1990s to roughly 2017. After 2017, Swift was purchased and their logo changed. So Swift Transportation is a Phoenix, Arizona-based American shipping carrier and now part of Knight-Swift. With over 23,000 trucks, it is the largest common carrier in the United States in 2017 Swift merged with Knight Transportation, also of Phoenix. And that's why I've got this trailer as 1990 to 2017. They have since switched their logo. That doesn't mean, however, you don't see these trailers still on the road. That kind of gives you an idea. Now, I've got two road numbers that we're going to be offering for you in this run. The one that you see on the screen here is 530129. We're also going to offer 530180. Up next is Werner Enterprises. This one is 1990s to current day. Clarence C.L. Werner sold his family car for a Ford truck back in 1956 and started hauling cargo for different companies. By 1964, he moved his business out of his home and into a shop that was located at Council Bluffs, Iowa. Now located in Omaha, Nebraska, this enterprise is now the sixth largest carrier in the United States. Pretty interesting how some of these truck companies and freight carriers started in very small, meager starts, but have grown to be the big carriers that they are today. So again, if you're modeling the 1990s into current day, these trailers will be perfect for your layout or module. The first trailer that we have on the screen is road number 36664, and the other one that we're going to offer that's not seen is 36686. Next is USF Holland. Now, this is a 1990s to roughly 2005 era. This Michigan-based LTL carrier was purchased by Yellow Roadway Corporation in 2005. With this purchase, Yellow Roadway would restructure itself and form a new subsidiary, YRC Regional Transportation. Now, anybody that's got their pulse on the trucking market knows that that company is no more. In fact, I believe it was around November of 2023, Yellow Corporation ceased to exist. Kind of sad to hear that because that was one of the biggest and one of the oldest trucking freight carriers in the country. Therefore, this USF Holland trailer is specifically good for 1990s to 2005. But again, keep in mind, you can still see these occasionally. We've got two road numbers for the USF Holland. 209-157 is pictured here. We've also got 209-220. And coming up with our last batch of trailers, something a little bit more modern for you guys. The first one is U.S. Shipping Trans. This is a 2015 to 2022 era trailer, and they were founded in 1986. U.S. Shipping Trans was headquartered in Lathrop, California. The carrier mainly transported fresh produce, meat, and refrigerated foods, as well as dry bulk commodities. Unfortunately, the company went out of business in 2022. We've got two trailers here for you, and if you're modeling 2015 to 2022, these are perfect for what you've got going on. The first one that we've shown on the screen is UST 32, but we're also going to offer UST 33 as well. And then finally, we have Sunview Logistics. This is a 2015 to current day trailer. Sunview Logistics started with a one truck in Stockton, California, and they serve their local communities. Currently, however, the company has grown to 150 plus trucks and trailers serving the continental United States, the 48 contingent states. The trailer that you see under screen is road number SIDD 6024, and then we're going to also offer SIDD 6026. Now let's talk about the features of these Wabash trailers. So these are going to include separate etched metal hazmat placards where applicable, separate painted etched metal mud flaps, painted roof lights, conspicuity stripes, door closure rods, 6-piece landing gear assembly. The sand shoes are applied with removable glue, sliding tandems, so you can actually move those tandem wheels forward or aft, 8 rubber tires, and of course these are fully assembled, ready for your layout. So there you have it. These are available for pre-order until Friday the 26th. Before we go on to the next item, I want to see if there's any questions about the 53-foot trailers. A lot lot of people are asking questions about what they want produced or when something's going to be in stock. Hit me up after the program, because keep in mind, I don't see your comments. I'm going to put Benjamin's got a good one for Swift. He says Swift stands for sure wish I had a fast truck. That's good. I've not heard that one, Benjamin. I'm glad you guys are enjoying the history lesson. I think it's important to know, if before we put this on our layout, what is the reason for these vehicles or locomotives or freight cars? What's the reason for them to be here? And so hopefully this information is being is helpful to you. Let's see. A lot of people happy about these 53-foot trailers. Randall writes, I still see Heartland Express trailers here. Swift is by far the most common one I've seen, although I'm seeing more Hirschbach trailers again recently. I am too. We're seeing a lot of those around the Bloomington Normal area, and I don't remember those being that common back in about 10 years ago. there's some more funny comments on what Swift stands for in the comments section. I'll let you guys read up on those. Let's see, one more question, then we're going to go on to our next item. All right, doesn't look like there's any other questions, just a few comments. So we're going to go on to our next item, which is some 50-foot boxcars. Now these are 50-foot Youngstown plug door boxcars. Now insulated boxcars, they were first used in the early 1950s. Many of these were 50 feet long with plug doors that opened on tracks. These doors formed a very tight seal when slid back into place, and these boxcars kept cargo with a few degrees of the original temperature over several days. The insulated cars were popular with shippers with cargo that needed protection from extreme cold or heat, such as canned foods and other perishables. So if you've got something on your layout, let's say it's a bakery or a grocery distributor, anything like that, you're going to want to pick up these cars. Now, for all the cars that are going to be showing you for the month of April, these are available as either 2 singles or you can get a 3-car set. So let's start with Union Pacific. This is a 1981 era car. The car that you see on your screen is UP 492944. We're also going to offer car number 492950, and then the 3-pack will include 492920, 492926, and 492932. 1976 era, you've got the Cascade Green Burlington Northern. The car that's pictured here is BN 747847, but we're also going to offer an additional single, which is 747872, and the 3-pack is going to include 747917, 747936, and finally 747955. Now, if you missed any of those numbers, don't worry. You can go to our website and select the new announcements tab and see them all listed on the PDF. Coming up next, we get some Milwaukee Road. This is a 1967 era car. The car that you see on your screen now is 3077. Of course, the reporting marks for the Milwaukee Road was MILW. We're also going to offer car number 3087 as an additional single, and the 3-pack will include car numbers 3027, 3041, and 3054. Sticking into the 1960s, we've got a 1964 on up era Denver and Rio Grand Western car. This is car number 60857. Of course, it goes without saying their reporting marks were DRGW. We've also got another single, which is road number 60860, and then the 3-pack will include road numbers 60835, 60841, and 60847. Taking a swing from the Midwest and West, we're swinging into the East Coast now with the Boston and Maine. Boston and Maine took delivery of these cars in 1979. So these are fine for modelers of 1979 throughout the 1980s. A lot of these soldiered on through the Guilford era. Car that is shown here is Boston and Maine number 152, and we're also going to offer 153, and the 3-pack will include car numbers 155, 157, and 158. And then finally, for 1974 is the Fruit Growers Express. So again, 1974 all the way up into the 80s. These have Southern Railway reporting marks. The first car that you see here is SOU 792705. The other single we'll offer is car number 792708. And then finally, the 3-pack will include 792710, 792712, and finally 792715. Now let's talk about the features of these cars. This car has been in the Athearn catalog for quite a bit. However, it does have some great features, including separately applied brake wheel and ladders, 70-ton roller bearing trucks, 33-inch machined metal wheels with RP25 contours, body-mounted McHenry operating scale knuckle couplers, and of course, all models are representative of prototypical paint schemes. The paint schemes are prototypical, and the minimum radius on these is 18 inches. So again, doesn't matter how small or large your layout or module is, you can easily get these on without having any issues. So again, these are available for pre-order until Friday, April 26th. So got a few weeks yet, but keep in mind if you've got some industries for any of the products that we're talking about, or maybe a passenger train that needs some power, these are probably things that you need to bring up with your Athearn dealer. So there we have it. 3 HO scale models to talk about tonight, one from Genesis and two rather from Athearn. So let's see what we've got going on out there. If you got any questions about the box cars, or if you've got some other questions for Athearn, go ahead and leave those in the comments now. I'll be looking, and we'll try to be answering those questions. Late Night Model Railroad says, has Athearn ever produced grain hauling trailers? If not, would it consider it tarped trailer? I'll put in a product suggestion email regardless, but wondering the likelihood of it. So to answer your first question, no, we haven't. We've done grain trucks, but not specifically trailers. Would we do them in the future? It's a possibility. There is a demand for them, especially if you're modeling the Midwest. But thank you for that. Go ahead and send us that suggestion in the Athearn product suggestion emails. Let's see. Question that I got asked a lot this past weekend from Jacob. Will you ever add Blue Nami to the product line? Well, Blue Nami is part of Soundtrax. Of course, Soundtrax does work with us, and we use the decoders in the Athearn line under the Econami name, and in the Genesis line as Tsunami 2. Of course, it's been a little bit about over a year now. They introduced the Blue Nami, and people have been asking ever since they released that, will Athearn ever have this as standard equipment within their locomotives? Right now, it's too early to say. We have been looking into it, but there's a lot that goes into it. Everything from pricing all the way to physical limitations of how that's going to fit in there. So we are considering it. We're looking into it, but right now it's just too early to tell. Corker57 says, hello, Jim. Some time ago, you discussed the licensing agreements concerning Mack. Where is Athearn on the negotiations, and will we see Mack trucks on our layouts again? I would really like to see Macks on our layouts again. No update for you, unfortunately, on licensing. Sometimes that kind of stuff can take months, if not years, to resolve. Hopefully they do come to a decision soon because I, like you, could use some Macs on my layout. Let's see. Here's a good question from Vistalite, 1972. I don't have an Athearn dealer near me, nor a hobby shop. Can I order directly from Athearn? Yes, you can order directly from Athearn, either at athearn.com or even horizonhobby.com. Keep in mind, though, since we do have a dealer network, everything that's sold on those websites is full retail. So I would encourage you to find an Athearn dealer online. If you can find Athearn online, you can find a Athearn dealer online. Do a quick search for Athearn trains on your preferred search engine, and you will see dealers listed throughout the United States and Canada that carry Athearn. Or you can also ask your friends who are model railroaders for who they order from, any suggestions they may have. Mr. Rick Simpson has joined us tonight. He says, received my Heritage CNW and UP 8279 SD70 Aces, and very pleased installing the ESU DCC into these. Looking forward to the Denver Rio Grand and SP Heritage units. Thank you, Rick. Yes, we had both of those, the Denver Rio Grand and the SP production models at the Rocky Mountain Train Show, and they were a hit. They're absolutely beautiful. Remember, these are updated because Union Pacific repainted these a couple of years back, so there are some subtle updates. The biggest update, the most noticeable update, is the PTC antenna array on the cabs, and that is something that we've included in this run. So beautiful units. Rick, thank you for the kind words. We appreciate your business and your comments, and hopefully some of you guys get to see those pictures on Facebook. But if you ordered the Denver Rio Grande, the Southern Pacific, you should be getting a phone call from your dealer pretty soon. We're hoping to see those by the end of April, beginning of May. Let's see. And see, already in the comment section, people are answering Mr. Vista's question on hobby shops. It may have sparked somewhat of a debate, but that's okay. It's free enterprise. Let's see what other questions we have out here. Randall is saying, don't know if you have plans to do those particular trailers, but the new logo they have looks great. I think you're probably talking about the Knight Swift logo. Yeah, they do look great. I'm sure in a matter of time we'll probably do those. Joel says digging the F units. They're nice and heavy and good pullers. They do wonderful pulling, name trained around the layout. The Circus Peanut. Joel loves Circus Peanuts. Chesty with an interesting question. He says, Jim, can Athearn do the Black Mac from Convoy and Smokey and the Bandit trucks? Wow, there's some great movies. If you haven't seen those movies, I encourage you to check those out. No, I'm afraid to say that we can't, and that's because of licensing. Not this time with a vehicle manufacturer, but with a movie license. Sometimes there are model railroad manufacturers that do somehow get a license to do such vehicles, and they go very quickly. Now, I will tell you that we have offered some trucks in the past that mimic paint schemes of famous silver screen trucks. And with a little bit of work from some decal manufacturers, you can actually mimic that said vehicle. But we don't do that just because the licensing on that would be astronomical. Let's see what we've got for a few more questions, and then I'm going to let you guys get back to some modeling. Dan says, hey, Jim, any Seaboard Patch CSX GP40-2s coming in the near future? I don't think so. Not in the near future. Not that I can remember, but I could be wrong. But I don't remember seeing any. Let's see. William, with some kind comments, says, "Thank you for finally having the SD70 Ace locomotives returning this late April, especially in the Kansas City Southern CPKC, which I still can't get used to saying. The Southern Bells. I ordered mine from a close friend of mine 2 years ago. Many thanks. This hobby keeps changing. Athearn stays with it." Thank you, William. I appreciate that. Yeah, it seems hard to believe, and that's one of the reasons why we did release AC 4400s and the Aces and the Southern Bell paint scheme, because we all know that it's not going to last forever now that there's CPKC. So, yeah, I'm glad you guys like those. That was a really cool paint scheme. Let's see, one more question. Have any updates on the 260s and 280s? Yes, I want to say on the 280s, I want to say I saw an ETA of around July. Let's see. It looks like we got a lot of questions answered. Real quickly, I want to thank everybody that came by the booth this past weekend. I just got in yesterday or last night from Denver, Colorado. I spent Friday through Sunday at Denver at the Rocky Mountain Train Show. Friday, George and I went over to Rocky Mountain Train Supply, and that was just nearby. We had a live feed. We also had a meet and greet. We had a good time. We talked about a little bit of everything. We mainly talked about how to set up dynamic digital exhaust. Now, anybody that saw that or is currently seeing the video, I realized we had some really bad issues. We were having internet issues, unfortunately, and that was causing everything from sound problems to all kinds of different problems. So George and I have agreed that in the not too distant future, we're going to redo that video so you can actually see how to do dynamic digital exhaust, and we'll just throw away that live one. And if you came by the booth over the weekend, thanks for stopping by, grabbing your sticker. We did special Union Pacific Bicentennial 6900 DDA 40X locomotive stickers. And basically, we had some stuff that I was able to bring on my suitcase just before leaving for the show, and that included the RS3s by Athearn, as well as the SD70 Aces, specifically the Heritage units. So thank you for joining me at that show if you were there. If I didn't catch you at that show, hopefully I'll catch you at the next one. Next show for Athearn is going to be RC Fest, which is in Central Illinois. You can find that at horizonhobby.com. Then I'll be going to the St. Louis RPM. Of course, we're still getting some information, but it looks like we're going to be at the National Train Show. That's going to be in um, August, and that's going to be at Long Beach. And then finally, we're going to be at Train Fest, because Train Fest is back, thankfully, and looking forward to seeing you there. Now, keep in mind, a lot of folks ask why I'm not, or somebody from Athearn is not at a specific show. Keep in mind, Athearn's a small group, and we can't be out of the office too much because, well, we're all busy trying to make trains for all of us. But with that being said, if there is a large show in your area, specifically, I'm trying to find more shows in the southeast and southern parts of the country. We've got New England and the Midwest pretty well covered. So if you've got a big show that you think you would like to see Athearn at, there is a contact us form on our website at athearn.com. Go ahead and fill that out, and let's see what happens. I would like to see some of you guys in the southeast as well as the south parts of the United States. And hopefully, besides the Rocky Mountain Train Show, we can do some other shows out on the West Coast as well. So, with that being said, I'm going to let you guys get back to some modeling. So glad that you could join me here tonight if you were here live. But until next time, everyone out there, be happy, be healthy, be safe, do some good modeling, and above all, high greens. Take care.